Um, um, the author of it may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to say it anyway. And this is the additional commentaries section. This particular additional commentary section, I am discussing why I kind of have a issue with the whole concept of getting of the boyfriend girlfriend situation, and why I'm a strong believer in friendship. Now, like I said before, everybody has their style, relationship style, and how they connect with people, how they get to know each other, and how they get to the finish line. Hopefully, to a long-term relationship such as marriage. And for me, I like the friendship route. And part of the reason why I prefer the friendship route, um, and the only exception to the rule would be if God made a clear indication that this person is the person I'm supposed to be with, so therefore I wouldn't need to do the friendship situation. Is because of the ability to create the proper boundaries, especially when you're in a position where you're not ready to be in a relationship, such as you have personal goals or there's situations going on in your life that need to be cleaned up or taken care of, so that therefore you won't be putting somebody in a place of vulnerability where they feel like they may have to wait and not sure how this is going to turn out, and then the pressures of them feeling, because they're living in a sense of doubt of whether or not this is something they should be doing, or are they being taken advantage of. To me, in order to avoid that, if there's a wall up or boundaries that are set up that let that person know that right now you're not in a position to be the person that they need you to be. So therefore, you don't want to take this situation further than what it has to be and create an entity of insecurity. That's my main concern about the boyfriend girlfriend situation is that when you're involving yourself emotionally with someone like that, that person has expectations, and so they feel like, well, we're getting closer and closer, and my feelings should be considered, and that is a definite truth. But if you're not in a position to really actually give that true consideration, because there's things going on in your world, it makes it very difficult for you to honor that. And one of the best example I can give is, and relates more to the young men than to women, but what it could go either way. But like, suppose you meet someone. Now, I look at it as two entities. If God told me that I'm supposed to be with this one person and that person concurs with that, I really wouldn't worry about um, the other factors, because I would believe that God will work that out. That if He puts that in my head that I'm supposed to be with that person, that all those things will work itself out, and I don't have to compromise myself by doing things outside of a marriage in order for to maintain the relationship. So that's how I would handle that if I was put in that position. But there are some people that they prefer to handle their goals. They prefer to work out their goals first before they take that step, even if they believe this person is somebody they should be with. Now, in a circumstance such as that, um, if you choose to take that route, which is totally not really anything wrong with it, except where this is the scenario I'm getting ready to create from that. You meet someone, and that person, and you decide, believe this person is somebody you should be with. Now, as you're trying to pursue your goals, because you feel like I'm not ready. I'm in work. Maybe I might be in college, or might be, like I said, be working out some issues and things of that nature. You're spending time with this person, and this person, like I said, they're feeling like, like they want more consideration. Now it becomes a conflict between your goals and that person. Now, you need to, if you're in college, you know that you want to finish get to your degree. You know that it's going to create an entity for you to get a better circumstance that will allow you to be the man that you need to be for this particular young lady. However, her desire for attention and reassurance that she's not wasting her time comes into play, and it puts you in a position where you're trying to accommodate that. And of course, you can have conflicts if you decide to still maintain your goals, and you try to please her. And if it comes to a head where you have to choose, the reality of the situation is when it's all said and done, your goals actually needed to come first. And because again, in order for you to be the man that she needs you to be, so you can be the best man for her, you really did need to go ahead and finish up your career goals so you can be that man. And that's where the problem comes in for me when it comes to the boyfriend girlfriend situation, is that the consideration part that you have, that is you're required to give that other person, can just like I said before, it gets in the way of whatever you're trying to do. And so that's why I feel that unfortunately, whatever's when you meet someone and you're in a position like that, whatever's keeping you from taking that leap where you can't walk enough in your faith to say we can work this out even if we choose to make this a permanent relationship right now. If you don't have that belief you can do that, then whatever's holding you back is your priority, not your emotional concern for another person. And if you don't get that cleaned up or resolved, you're going to have problems. Because suppose that person gives in to the person and tries to give them the assurance that they need, and their goals falls to the wayside, and then they don't become the person that other person needs them to be. And then later on, it hits a further problem when you realize that part of the problems that you're incurring now are based on the fact that you're not the person that you needed to be for them. What do you do? And what does that other person do? Like, will that person take responsibility from keeping you from your goals, or will they look at you in a different way and feel like you're not the person that they thought you were going to be, without them taking responsibility for the fact that they helped put you in a position of you not being the person that they thought you were going to be? These are the kind of things that I look at when I think about the boyfriend girlfriend situation. And like I said before, there really is no real conversation about that. There's really no nothing in the Bible that discusses courtships and things of that nature. So how we get together is how we get together. Outside of sex, outside of marriage, how we get together is how we get together. And so when you use these kind of circumstances as a way of doing this, you have to think long and hard of the commitment you can make. And like I said before, to me, everybody has different styles on how they get to know each other. So it's understandable, why you could take that route more so than the friendship route or love at first sight or whatever, or arranged marriages or whatever the situation is. It's understandable, because like I said before, you want to have a sense of assuredness that this is something you should supposed to be doing. And for me, where the friendship thing makes it a little bit easier is that you get to know a person without putting yourself in a position of such great obligation that you won't be able to pull back if you have to. So if conflicts were to occur, you can always, set the record straight a lot easier and say, look, we're not in this kind of relationship, and I'm not trying to hold you back, but this is what I need to do right now. And I, my hands are tied. I like to hope or walk in, hope that you can walk in the faith that this is worth uh, being involved with. But if you feel that you need attention and things of that nature, then go out there and get it. And I have to respect that. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy with it, but at the same time, I also have to realize that I can't be what you need me to be right now. And this is what we really say if we're really meant to be together, because if you do go out there and spend time with some other people, and either one or two things should happen. Either you're going to verify that we should be together because nobody's going to hold a candle to me, or you're going to find out that maybe you are not as interested as you thought you were. So instead of me worrying about whether or not I'm going to lose you, I should be really worried about whether or not this is really supposed to be what it is, and not be upset over the fact that I could possibly lose you. So that's to me that's how I feel about when it comes to the friendship thing. Again, like I said, if the Lord gave me the emotional concept that this is the person I'm supposed to be with, I would like to believe that he wouldn't have totally gave me that information if he didn't believe it was somebody I could work it out with. You know what I'm saying? And so I wouldn't necessarily want to feel a need to hesitate, especially if I was a man. You know, I mean, my belief would be is that if the Lord spoke to me as a man, if he spoke to me and said, "This is your wife," then I would like to believe that he's put in her the ability to deal with um, me working through my issues. We can go ahead and get married, we can work through my issues, and she has the ability, the vision, the foresight to see where I'm going, and we work together. And I've given her the security of knowing that she has me, that there is no room for anybody else. There's no room for me to play because had the ability to make that kind of commitment to her. That's the way I would look at it. But again, like I said, there's a lot of people who don't walk in that kind of journey and that they don't have that kind of faith. So that's the reason why they kind of create the kind of relationship, which is a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, to give that person enough energy um, to give them the assurance that they need. But again, unfortunately, some of the problem with that can be is that when circumstances come up and that person feels vulnerable, um, then that's where the conflicts come in. Because at least if you're married, you can that there's an obligation that you both owe to each other, and you put it in yourself to make those concessions. But at the same time, like I said, if the Lord brought you to somebody who he says this is your mate, that person should be able to deal with you pursuing your goals. And so you'll find ways to work that out instead of being hesitant. And like I said, that other person would know how to deal with, like, if you have to suppose you had to take an internship in another city, that person would be able to deal with that. If you need to spend a lot of time in whether you're doing some kind of lab work or some kind of projects that require a lot of energy, that person will be able to deal with that because they know that this is part of you getting to where you need to go. And it's going to make a better life for everybody concerned. They will understand that whatever goals that um, you had them before you got to that person, you know. But of course, the best circumstance is always going to be before you really put yourself in a position of romantic entities is for you to be where you need to be at initially. Like, it's better to me. It's always better for a man to have himself established and have some of his issues worked out, which is one of the main discussions that I had in my book through this book, is that you be where you need to be first before you even worry about it, and then you don't have to go through these changes at all. But unfortunately, like I said, with things being delayed and progress taking to a point where you have to have more education, there's a lot of people who grew up in dysfunctional environments where they have issues that they need to work out. All those come into play, and those are things that again help delay um, you being the person you need to be right off the bat. So that's why you have these delays, and so now when you meet someone, if everything was the way it's supposed to be, you could have met somebody at 21, and that person should be the person you're with. However, if you got all these other issues going on behind the scenes that's keeping you from being the man that you need to be to that woman, or vice versa, those issues have to be worked out. And that's where the compromising comes in. That's where doing things out of order comes in the forefront. Because you're trying to maintain a relationship plus work out your issues. And you don't feel comfortable enough committing to somebody on a solid basis because you're not sure how this is going to go. Or you feel like the time needed to give to your whatever issues you're trying to work out, you need to give it that time. But you put yourself in a compromising position because you also want to maintain a emotional relationship with someone that you really can't do, because you really do need to work on your goals. Your goals should have to play an important part in your development as a person, and that's why you want to get that cleaned up or straightened out so you can be the best person you can be for whoever you choose to be with. So those are the reasons why, if that's a better explanation, if that's a clearer mindset, um, commentary to what I discussed earlier, I hope it is. But I just thought it was a good way of just saying about the importance of your having your goals together and understanding the compromising that it would take to maintain that relationship when you're not in a position of readiness yet. So that's again Terry Radney, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Continuing on the commentary that I just had about the friendship situation, what I wanted to say was this is really was exactly why I wrote one of the main reasons why I wrote the chapter I made, the problem with men and sex, with the situation being that because men put their physical entities in the forefront like they do in this day and time, you find yourself putting yourself in positions of, well, I want to I want to have some kind of relationship so it guarantees me some kind of physical entity, and I can still pursue my goals, or I can still do whatever I need to do before I take the plunge. With the problem being, number one, you're not supposed to do it anyway, and you should be looking toward discipline versus you indulging your physical entity. And number two, again, just you don't if you don't have the assurance that this is going to work out the way it should, then you're creating emotional disillusionment, not just for yourself but for the other person, because of course this person has waited for you and they desire to have a relationship with you, and hopefully it was going to go into something more solid, and it doesn't materialize into that. Or even for yourself, if you gave up you made the sacrifices for this person, and things didn't materialize, and so now you feel duped. And of course, you go out in the world being angry and mad, or this person goes out in the world being angry and mad because neither one of them achieved the goals that they were trying to achieve pursuing this kind of relationship. And that's part of the reason why I wrote that particular chapter, is to say, when you pull a cart before the horse by trying to pursue your physical entities with someone, this is the problems you create. And with with the friendship situation, since that person is your friend, not your lover, um, you don't put yourself in that position like that. And that other person is not put in a position of having to unnecessarily put their life on hold. They can pursue their goals or their, their social goals, as far as like they want to be, um, be friendly with people and things like that. They can do that without feeling like they betrayed you. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a betrayal going on. Um, like I said before, with the unfortunately with the way things are set up now, progress has delayed a lot of our a lot of young people from being able to properly pursue their relationships in a way that it will allow them to do the right thing. And because of that, that's why friendship to me is like kind of like the compromise a little bit. However, because back in the day, like I said before, like my dad was 15 when he took on his full-time job, and even went to the military. So he was at least able to be able to be a provider for his family in a constructive way, and still maintain a relationship and everything like that. He was able to do that. That's not how it is nowadays. Like I said, you usually have to take some form of training. You have to work a little harder if you're starting your own business to get that set up, and all those things require your attention. And when you're not able to do that because you have to worry about someone else's feelings and what direction they want you to go into and things of that nature, it just messes everything up. And another important factor behind this is when God created man, the first thing he gave him is his purpose. And that's something that we seem to have gotten away from, where now people pursue relationships before they even find what their purpose is. And I'm not even just talking about career issues. I'm talking about if you supposedly had children, or if there's, like I said, personal issues that need to be worked out from dysfunctional circumstances that you've come from. All those things, need to be situated in your life. And that's, so those things play an important part. But again, this is part of the main reason why I wrote The Problem with Men is Sex, was for this subject alone, because of the fact that a lot of young men pull the cart before the horse because they're worried about getting their groove on, and this is where you get caught up. So that's the commentary, the continued commentary. Thanks. Okay, that these two discussions that I've had over the past subject, when they're dealing with boyfriend girlfriend, I know they had similar themes and they started off in similar ways, but the reason for both of them is that whatever I forgot in one commentary, I kind of hope I feel fulfilled or in the other one. So that's part of, again, part of my reason for similarities, but I did think that was all important. So forgive me for the duplication, or repetition, or however you want to put it. Again, I hope that you got something out of it. And we'll go on to the next one. Will be about truth, another part that deals with friendship as well. I have a couple of those, and then I get into the black men issues and things like that, and black people's issues and stuff. So um, we'll be continuing on. Thank you.